Crash Diet, Generation Wild på Bandit Rock. Och nu har jag fått besök. Right. Welcome to the Bandit studio, Jason Rouse.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a real treat the last few days I've been here in Stockholm. The weather's been great, and there's been a lot of half-naked bodies all over the city. It's been a nice change from the grim weather of England, and yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Who are you? Obviously, I've done my research, but for the people listening.
I am Jason Rouse. I'm a comedian originally from Canada, and I'm on a 9-month, 16-country tour right now, and this is one of probably 4 stops I'll make in Sweden over the next 8-9 months. Yeah.
So I heard that you've performed at rock festivals.
Yeah. I've been doing the Download Festival for the last 6 years. I did Reading Leeds Festival a few years in a row, but I found the genre of music that Download and like Sonosphere and Bloodstock is more kind of my demographic. Reading and Leeds festivals kind of got a little softer over the years.
All right.
And the people that tend to gravitate towards those music genres are a little put off by some of the context of my humor.
Yeah.
So the more extreme music, the better the audience for me.
Yeah.
I love watching people in so-called hardcore metalheads go, ooh, that was a little harsh.
Because your bits are a bit edgy, I've heard, too.
Yeah, so. Very much. So, yeah, it's extreme comedy for extreme people.
So have you met any cool rock stars at these festivals that you perform at?
Yeah, numerous ones. Last year, I hosted the Golden God Awards in London, England for Metal Hammer magazine. So I got to meet like bands like Iron Maiden and my fellow comrades from Canada, Anvil and stuff like that. Yeah. Who else was on it? Devil Driver and Emperor and Venom and stuff like that. So, and it's cool. And we're discussing it now, but we're going to find out next few days. But it looks like I'm going to be the first comedian of the history of the Hole in the Sky Festival in Norway to perform at. The Black Metal Festival in Bergen. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to corpse paint up the show a little bit to get their attention. But numerous. I did an interview with Slayer, which was really cool for BBC at Reading Festival one year. And I just find myself in that context more and more with the music audiences. Before I started doing stand-up in clubs, I was MC for illegal nightclubs and after-hours clubs in Vancouver, Canada. So I was hosting a lot of nights with hardcore and punk rock bands in and around Vancouver, and then slowly gravitated towards comedy clubs and things like that. So I was always in the mix of the music people, but I like the idea of being a solo artist and not having to pull heavy gear around and
just the microphone,
split the money 5 ways. So yeah.
So it's better to be a comedian by yourself than playing in a band. Yeah,
well, you get more pussy playing guitar. There's a running joke with comedians saying, a pretty girl comes up to a comedian after a show and says, "Oh, you're really funny. I'm gonna go fuck that guy with the guitar." If you want to get laid, pick up an instrument. Comedy does help you put you in the spotlight and stuff like that, but musicians get way more pussy than comics. I get like fat goth girls with like self-harming scars all over them going, "Would you sign the boil on my neck?" Can I pop it first? There's a goldfish in it, and you're on the handsome side of pretty. Yeah, that's not always nice, but it's cool. I get like 20-year-old kids with Slipknot shirts. That's kind of my. And if I was Michael Jackson, that'd be perfect. But it's not. I'm not fucking any kids anymore since the court case. Apparently, it's illegal here too. But when you get a hard-on that you can't bend with both hands, you got to shove it somewhere. And sometimes having a mouth at waist height doesn't help anybody.
I don't know what to say. Vi är tillbaka om en liten stund med mer snack med Jason Rouse, komikern här nu i In Flames, så länge The Mirror's Truth på Bandit. In Flames på Bandit Rock. Och jag sitter fortfarande här med komikern Jason Rouse. So my boss, when he told me you were coming, he said that you knew Ronnie James Dio.
Yes, yeah. That was unpleasant with Ronnie's passing the last little while. I had a club owner in Canada who ran a comedy club there, was friends of Ronnie's via him going to shows when he was a teenager. And my friend's father was a goldsmith and made a gold pendant for Ronnie with like this.
The metal sign.
Yeah. And since we had a relationship with Ronnie, and then as he went to go work for Ronnie as a roadie, we were always good friends. He's like, "Do you want to come and meet Ronnie?" And I'm like, "Fuck that." Yeah, of course. That'd be great. So I've had to, lucky enough to meet up with them in various countries and stuff. I remember just being in Finland at a Heaven and Hell show and going, I'm in Finland doing comedy and hanging out with Ronnie James Dio. It's just a weird place to be. But yeah, very cool. And a perfect gentleman, a very nice guy to all the fans. And he's just cool. He was just a cool guy.
This is not the first time you've been to Sweden.
No.
You were here this spring, I think. There was an incident.
There's been a few incidents since I was here.
I heard something about Fadde.
Yeah.
A very well-known guy here in Sweden, I guess.
I didn't know too much about him.
And he's tried out a career in comedy. And
no, I was doing
tell me about this.
A show at the Mafia Comedy Club, and I think his ex-wife was there, and we got talking, and then he interrupted or said something. I didn't know who she was or who he was, and then he said something to me, and then I said, "Oh, fuck you," and then I said, "Let's go outside," and he went to the top of the stairs, and assuming that he was going to follow me, so I threw a drink in his face and went outside and waited for him, and he never came out. So that was the end of that. But I haven't seen him since. We'll see what happens then.
All right. So what's your take on the Swedish comedy scene? Obviously, you're not a fan of Fadde joining the community, but Swedish comedy in general.
Yeah. You've got Magnus Battner's probably the best export from this country. There's a handful of other comics too, but he's on another level. He's a purist, and I love hanging out with him and doing gigs with him too. He's great.
So when you perform here in Sweden, I guess it's with other Swedish comedians, and they do their shows in Swedish. Can you still tell that it's funny, even though you might not get the language?
Yeah. Well, I've been studying. My plan is this time next year to have a set in Swedish.
So you're learning Swedish? Let me hear it.
No,
Come on.
I'm not going to embarrass myself yet. I've got a handful of words that I'm working with, but I downloaded this program, and I've been going through it on my headphones and familiarizing myself with just how the pronunciation, phrasing, and stuff like that. But come see.
Come see.
Come see fitta.
It seems you've learned...
Käften fitta!
You've learned the most important basics.
Yeah,
obviously.
Shut up, vagina. That's it gets me a seat on the bus, I'll tell you that.
You can go far with just that.
But yeah, I'm studying a bit of language, the culture. I'm going to work on a one-man show that's geared around Swedish culture and perform that.
Where do you find your inspiration for your comedy?
Usually through things that make other people upset and provoke a negative response. In the most part, I find disgusting and horrible things on the internet, and people always sending me things, and that's been kind of my fodder for a lot of the context. I like incorporate horror and laughter and together. People are afraid and excited at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, come and see it. Even if you're not into what I do, come and watch the people
react.
And have an earful, to say the least.
Anything else you want to add?
Wear a condom over both of your fists, especially if you went to a university. You can't get those rings back. All right?
Thank you so much.
Hey, tack.
Jason Rouse, alltså komikern. Och för en fullständig lista på vilka ställen och platser han uppträder på, gå in på hemsidan blackbeltcomedy.com.